y'all will be sure to sign in before you leave, so we can have a record of your attention. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Yes.
I'll have a clipboard.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brian Kelber, Director of Beach Operations. Appreciate your time. Dave Tusa is with us, Josh Irvin, Craig Greenfinger, Beach Operations admin, and our distinguished guest, Canella Schottenberger.
Yay, Canella.
This afternoon, so we do some job reviews. All right.
Civics 101.
Presentation of our continuation of some right-of-way parking in the Boone Allen area. We recognize that we did our Con 38 parking assessment project that we had, and then we bought the piece of property for our Boone Allen, our new Boone Allen Regional Beach Access. We had an opportunity to connect all those together to create connectivity between the two parks, create formalized parking, which is part of our initiative going up and down 30A, which is part of the initiative of the 30A parking assessment project. And so starting down at the new Regional Beach Access, which is the two vacant lots right here just to the west of where Woodward hits 30A. This is our new Regional Beach Access and its design that we have, an entrance and exit. We already have some parking and sidewalk in right across from Stinky's Restaurant. As you move to the east, these are these parking spaces. This is the entrance to the condominiums called Dune I or Dune 1. And then as you move further east, it transforms to sidewalk. Part of our land development code requires that we have a 50-foot clear visibility, what's called our site triangle. And so it starts to compromise parking where we have driveway cuts onto the road. Our engineer has laid those out. What we're thinking, so this was a first attempt at it by our engineer. More than likely we would move this sidewalk down closer to the road to be less intrusive to these people's driveways right here. And that would carry on through all the way down to where you get to the last or almost last house where Fort Panic Road takes off, and then it would cut back up, and then we would have 10 right-of-way parking spaces, very similar in nature or exactly in nature to the parking we just put in. So this video we have here is our so this is a video of our the parking we just put in. And so as it's moving from east to west, this is the Fort Panic area. You can see our new parking spaces and our landscaped areas on the north side, parking on the south side, landscaped on the north side. Curb and gutter, new storm water. Right here is the entrance to Fort Panic Road, so that parking would start right there and move along, 10 spaces up. As you can see, the right-of-way is nice and wide right here, and the road's actually a little bit to the north of the center line of the right-of-way. Here's the driveway, start sidewalk. The areas to the right would be landscaped, curb and gutter put in. And then here's that semicircular driveway. And then here's our new parking we've just completed. We have a few spaces. And then it carries on up to our vacant lots we have under design and permit for the new Regional Beach Access. And so that's the conceptual plan we have now. Engineers' probable cost is around $230,000. Of course, the market will tell us exactly what it is. And so what we're trying to, a couple things trying to do here. One is formalize parking to keep people from parking where we don't want them to park. And we're also trying to set up what we would, or starting to envision the 30A corridor could look like, and to make it more beautiful, more formalized parking, and of course with all that comes safety. If you live in that area, you know that the parking along the side of the road there gets to be very unsafe for different reasons. Mainly the side triangles you can't see coming out of the driveways. Close proximity to the bike path puts doors in the bike path, doors in the road. Sometimes cars get parked on the bike path, multi-use path. And so, like I said, we'd like to get this section of the corridor complete, and then we can kind of keep building on that. Once we get some of complete for that whole area, people start to get a good vision, and we get better buy-in. Yes, ma'am.
The bike path, I guess there's no plan to keep it all on one side of the road.
We would like to.
Cameras where people are switching.
Yes, ma'am. There at Oyster Lake, when the bridge was built, I'm not sure if that's when it jumped the road, but it's not. It's before that. Okay. So anyway, with the bridge being built and that house just to the east of the road bridge, and they have their own bridge over the outfall, it makes it a little problematic. I've been looking at it. There's certainly some opportunity. If we could get it down that side of the road, we'd like to. It would mean another bridge attached to the current road bridge. If you know, that bridge had some major difficulties getting built. I haven't approached the engineers about how could we do that, but if you have enough will and enough money, you can make anything work. So.
Again, my greatest concern here is safety.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I live just right around the corner of Fort Hoffman there.
Right.
And the bottom line is, especially this time of year, small children that may or may not be attended, even adults, just, not everybody stops.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Everywhere the bike path crosses the road, we have that condition, and we're aware of it. Obviously, the different conditions we have up and down 30A make it hard to keep on the same side. Eventually, it's going to mean complete reclamation of the right-of-way, and then to do it right. As we head 395 in Seagrove East, we're working with Public Works on a couple of joint projects. We're actually going to have multi-use path and sidewalk on both sides of the road. So one side will be multi-use path, the other side will be sidewalk. The difference is, of course, the width, and one, more likely to be concrete, where ours is, we'd like to keep it asphalt. As we're building a new path, we have one project underway right now between 83 and 283. All new path is 10 feet wide. Signage, for course directional stop signs and all that. The new design scheme is continuous ribbon, so that instead of having driveways cut through the path will cut through the driveways. And of course, site triangles are trying to be worked out as well, by removing landscaping or changing some entrance ways and stuff like that. But yes, we're aware of. We wish we had it all on the same side of the road. Unfortunately, when it was first put in, and because of development since then, and people not paying attention, it's gotten,
I guess I bring it up because I just see this as an opportunity that
Mhm.
this is good and also in the public.
Yep. Definitely, as we move east, so this will be a next phase, moving east. Obviously, whenever we do this, we like to put in parking in close proximity to regional beach accesses. And since we have several neighborhood beach accesses heading east, it'd be nice to have them there too. The multiple driveway cuts, is going to prevent that. But curb and gutter around the islands, landscaping, will keep people from parking there. Now, it creates another problem. Where do these people that are parking now, where do they go park? So we're working on some other solutions for that. Those are a little bit longer term, but, a lot of times in Walton County, we try to do things all at one time, and we never do anything. And so this is a chipping away at it, and if you keep chipping away at it, sooner or later you get it.
And I apologize. Are we talking, if I refresh my memory, how many spots at the new access? 25?
There was going to be 28, but it's now been reduced to 26 because we did not. We started the process for a setback variance, but after discussions about it, we decided that it's not a good idea to seek that as a county entity. So what we want to do is set the bathhouse, the restroom, out on the road right of way, right here. But there's a scenic corridor buffer, and so we had to move it down, so we lost 2 spaces over here.
And how many disabled spots?
There'll be 2 handicap. bike parking out in the front, be a nice big concrete parking pad out here with, so the bathhouse has a center corridor, very similar to our one at Inlet. Out in front, there'll be some nice concrete pads with our hoop racks. It's got some golf cart parking down here, and a nice big loading and unloading zone right at the top of the boardwalk.
Because they tend to take away your spots.
Yep, yep. We're trying to incorporate golf cart parking wherever we're doing new beach accesses. So
So what happens to the little neighborhood ones in the area, like the West Bend and Allen Loop and Woodward is private road, and Hilltop, is it Hilltop?
Well, Hilton has Hilltop.
Hilltop, huh? You know, those neighborhood roads, what's gonna happen with people parking outside of those?
well, that's the same thing here. So we got a big crosswalk coming across here. Right now, you can see a lot of people park here. This will be landscaped. There'll be some barriers put in.
Is it
Uh,
your property?
Yes, ma'am.
These two? You're in these two, right? Or just one?
Yeah.
So in the future,
There's one behind it.
Yeah.
It's front and back.
this is all one?
That's,
Okay.
that frontage is
Yeah.
one piece, and then that's lot number one,
Yeah.
number two is back behind it.
So as Jim decides to develop this, wherever he wants to do with it, we'll have to accommodate if he needs driveway, exit onto 30A. But we'll look at something. But I mean, while this is satisfactory for Jim, it does create some dangerous situations on this bike path, and there's no doubt that it's destroying the right of way.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to be
I'm just wondering, I'm just wondering where everybody is parked that goes to Sticky's, because,
Well, you can think about this, all right? So I don't know how many can park along this road here. You don't let them park right in front of your restaurant. They park down a little this way. But, they come to the restaurant for lunch and dinner. Lunch will be full over here, and dinner, there might not be as many people over here, depending on what time of the year it is. There's already more parking down the right-of-way. There's going to be future parking down the right-of-way. I understand what you're saying.
let me ask you a question. Is Stinky's lunch parking gonna be allowed in the?
It's a public parking area, and so, it's first come, first served basis.
Honestly, lunch really isn't an issue. We don't, if it's raining,
Yeah.
it might be an issue, and at that point, there aren't really people on the beach. But when it's sunny, our parking
Mhm.
lot is rarely full.
Yeah.
And we do have,
You have some more opportunity up and down here. You went all the way back to here to the first house?
to know, that house is on lot number 4. We
Mhm.
have lots 1 and 2.
Mhm.
3 is blank, but that's a whole nother fiasco. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably, that's a whole nother fiasco that's going on right now with the county, because the county gave the development behind us the ability to improve the easement,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore they're required to maintain it as well,
Mm-hmm.
which basically takes my ability, it's only one.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, why don't they let you put a parking lot on that first lot? Why?
That is such a great
I
question.
just have to have the answer.
Can we log this for, because it makes too much sense.
And then
I can
the-
give you a number of reasons, but not here. I have
Well, one of the reasons is the coastal dune lake protection zone, correct?
Well, it's baloney, because the guy behind him just built all that stuff.
It'd be interesting to find out how he was able to do that. The other thing is that, well, I'm going to research it because I'm kind of mystified. I thought he had just cleared it. I didn't know he had started building.
It's horrendous.
Yeah,
It's bad news. It's right on the line.
but
Go ahead, please. I have a couple questions.
no, I can say, I don't know what it takes to get the guy back here. What's his name? Jamar or whatever it is.
The developer?
Yeah. What's his name?
Yeah, I'm not sure who.
He called me one day. He was inquiring about that. But anyway, there's got to be some kind of ability to sit down and compromise on something.
Right now, they're wanting me to eliminate that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, there ought to be something you can do there. If other people are allowed to do it, there ought to be some sort of process that you can do that. But
Well, the county There's
again,
a parking lot right across the street.
It's outside of the close to the intersection there.
you're right.
Yeah, but you can still do something on the lot, you know,
Mhm.
you can't completely obliterate it, you can do something, you would think.
Well, the CDL protection zone is 75%. Yeah, keep 75%.
I think they changed it. Down, well, ask the guy to the north of me that's on the list, how much they consider that.
Yeah,
Go ask him what his number is.
yeah.
Oh, you know what?
So-
And I have my file list, but Jackie, isn't there some kind of small lot exception or
There
something?
there is.
So I guess it's, well, I have a small
But
lot, so
still,
I
I
can
thought it
just.
was.
Land development code's full of exceptions.
I think it would be a delightful handicap park with bathrooms and a nice facility and pretty
Mhm.
trees and develop and easily
Mhm.
put 30 spots on it.
Easily.
Well, something we were talking about, because, you know, I live down the end of Hilltop, Jackie lives in this neighborhood, and
Mhm.
it's been a really quiet neighborhood, you
Mhm.
know, and so are we gonna all of a sudden have people, and I see it now with, you know, there's more and more of these rental houses closer to the beach, and they will park in the road, they'll park on the hill.
Mhm.
And so are we now going, is all of Hilltop and every other street in there gonna become this, you know?
Become this as in
as
right-of-way
in
parking?
Parking up and down.
No, we're not gonna, we wouldn't attempt to put parking up those roads that go up to the north.
He's talking about just willy-nilly illegal parking.
Well, I can't say that people won't try to do that. All right, so this is what I would suggest is to develop the resort community mentality on parking. And that is, signs do not work. You have to have hardscape or landscape to keep them out of the places you don't want them to park. And so that's,
You can't park in front of my house.
and so that's what this is, all this is about.
Well, technically, no, I had someone from the county come out,
Mm-hmm,
because I live right up the hill from his fine establishment.
mm-hmm.
And I was told that that the county has the right to have 10 feet into my front yard.
What they're talking about is the road right-of-way. So you live on Hilltop?
No, I'm there. So it first left off of Hilltop.
Okay, all right, right. So those are roads that were platted as part of a neighborhood. What neighborhood is that?
It's in the 70s.
Beach Highlands, second edition.
All right. So they have, I don't know, what is, they have 40-foot right-of-ways? But 25-foot right-of-ways?
Real narrow.
Okay. So, but that conditions exist in all neighborhoods. All right. So what they're saying is if the county wants to come through there with utilities, that they can do that. They're not saying that you have to provide parking for anybody in Walton County.
Well, I'm getting ready to redo my.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And that was my question, because I don't
Yeah.
want to waste time, money, and.
No, well, that's the
It would
reason.
only be if they wanted to come in and put
Right.
utilities, which is not likely
Yeah,
gonna
but I was
happen.
being told that people could park there too, unless there were signs that go up. like they have on-
Okay, so what you got was the basic county answer is yes, we can put a sign up and that'll stop all your problems. And it's crap.
Put it up, we have to go through process. You have to get 85% of the people on your street to sign,
Yeah.
and of course, I got some of the beach runs around me now that I could spring.
I would go with some low bushes, muley grass and palmettos.
I'm thinking cactus.
You gotta get something that's just big enough they won't drive over. And that's what you do.
We've always wanted to be there.
Yeah. But like I say, all the junipers and stuff we planted over here, whatever they are, the little low bush blue junipers, were great. Before people were parking over there, and it was very dangerous. People trying to back out of their driveways couldn't back out of their driveways. Sometimes they'd park halfway in the driveway, and we don't have that problem now. So that's really the answer. Like I say, if you go to Watercolor, you don't see no parking signs, and you only park where they have a formalized parking area, and that's what 30A ought to be. I mean, it ought to be.
And I will, if I may, speak for a moment. I agree, and I looked at Old 98 and Town of the Pavement, because I agreed with it, and I think what you're doing is fabulous for that reason.
Mhm.
Because it is gonna define what we look like, and to your point a minute ago, doing a little bit at a time works. I do think there needs to be a master plan, otherwise we end up doing a little bit at a time
Mhm.
and then redoing things. But I think your point of taking this and the great work that y'all have done,
Mhm.
and using it as a model, and it's working down in Drayton Beach, and
Mhm.
it still looks
Yeah.
I did have one observation about, after looking at this,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, gonna have two beach accesses on the same side of the road. Did you consider connecting the beach access on the south side
Mm-hmm.
with the bike path?
No, not with the bike
And-
path.
And taking that area that's commonly parked
Mm-hmm.
along there and turning that into right-of-way parking, including this area here. Because if this gets developed, its frontage is gonna be over here on Hilltop. But that way,
Mhm.
it would permanently clean up the area, that north side that does look ratty, people park all over it, and
Mhm.
have the beach accesses connected by bike paths, so the pedestrians and bikers don't have to
Mhm.
cross 38 to go from bike path to bike path.
Well, like I say, our future plans up and down 38 are to have pedestrian bike conveyance on both sides of the road. One of them being multi-use path, one of them being sidewalk. So a nice 5-foot sidewalk that connects the parks. Right here, we have it on the same latitude of the, or not latitude, we have it on the same plane as where it is here, but we're probably going to swoop it down closer to the road. I would assume that, you know, where that semicircle driveway is, that when we tell this guy we're fixing to run people through his driveway like that, he'll probably have a little bit of grief. You know, so we try to, you know, we try to create as less pain as we can, but we still want to have public conveyance.
Also need to use what the county owns.
I agree.
And I'm
I agree.
telling you, there's a 33-foot
But-
right-of-way to the south there.
We'll check that out. But if it goes down to, because the beach out there I have looked at it, and so whatever it was, they own that beach from their property line to property line.
That's the problem, but there's still the easement.
But
The easement, but you could, but I'm saying, it's on the road, so that guy, you just said, look, you built your driveway in the easement.
you know, in the future, they probably shouldn't allow this.
They shouldn't.
You know, and so, but it's there now, and so we got to deal with it.
Material for the sidewalk, concrete or?
Concrete.
So, given that
Mm-hmm.
last statement,
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to you briefly about this
Mm-hmm.
and about the widening of this path.
Mm-hmm.
This buffer here, if I lose any more parking,
We'll squeeze it in here. We'll make it
it
work.
will, it's gonna make it, it's already almost unusable. It will become
Right.
unusable.
Yeah. No, like I say, once again, we don't want to create pain where things already exist. We'll figure out a way to get 10 foot through here. It may decrease this margin out here. It may take that away, but we'll put some sort of, you know, not when I say barricade, I mean some sort of hardscape element. You know, is there any elevation change?
What's that?
Is there any elevation change from the dirt to the pavement?
It might be a foot.
Right. So, you know, a little small low retaining wall would look great right there.
It would, and I'm all for it. Just
Yeah.
please be,
Yeah.
beg you to please be,
Like I say, once we get, you know, looking at all that, we'll, you know, our engineers have all this, you know, in CAD, and they can manipulate it how they want to, and we can figure out exactly what it's going to do before we get there. Sometimes we have utility, you know, conflicts, but we've worked around those on a lot of different areas. So
So I think that's what
no, that's what we're here for.
The access to your right here, past Fort Knight, it floods there when it rains. And I know you've done some work.
Where?
Oh, right.
This ditch?
Yep, no, that whole area, that road, right, the road,
Oh, right here.
yes, sir.
Yep. So we put in all new stormwater.
I was gonna ask, but.
Yep. And
Heavy rain,
mhm.
go down fast.
what we did is we put in an exfiltration system that runs along here. How much we got there? About 100 feet. It's with 24 or 36 inch, 24 inch perforated pipe.
Given the elevation where this
Mhm.
part of the road is, are you gonna continue doing that all the way down here?
We will. Everywhere we put in new impervious surface, we have to do some stormwater. Now, you know, ideally, we would like to do what we're doing down east of 395 with Public Works. But our projects don't always mesh. Our funding's different. Their funding, you know, is much harder to obtain apparently than our funding is. Of course, their projects are more expensive. But so where we are, we're covering our stormwater. But there's also opportunities when when Public Works does come back and decides to redo this portion of 30A, there'll be some opportunity for them to connect to our stormwater, use some of these other areas like that triangle. And so, you know, once again, it'd be nice if we could all do everything at one time and make it happen, even if it was in 2-mile increments. But, well, well, see, that's another thing too. We got, you know, tremendous grief over our bike path project. And, you know, somebody said, well, they should have done that during, you know, the off season. Well, the off season is only January and maybe a little bit of December. You know, we have,
Not buying, we got 2 people working.
well, they got more than that working. You're not looking at all of it. But, but,
There's a better, come on, Bill.
what?
There was a better time in spring.
Well, okay, but there's a lot of other factors you have to consider, okay? And so our procurement process is about a 2.5 month thing. We had money carried over that we got a little bit tangled up with OM&B about how much money should be carried over for this project, and nothing happens unless it's funded, you know, appropriated, whatever you want to call it. But get this, we closed the bridge when they were taking out the old culvert, and we got thrown on the carpet for closing the bike bridge at the same time we had the road bridge closed. And so then we opened the bridge back up, the pedestrian bridge, and they continue working on the road bridge, and they finished that. But so there's no way to do a project. You know, somebody said y'all should have built a whole new bike path on the north side of the road.
I think the concern right now, at least from my perspective, is I had to go over to Frank's just because to start here.
Mm-hmm.
And the children that are here, usually they're like junior high age,
Mhm.
they can't drive. They have no sense of what's going on out
Mhm.
there, and they're doing all kinds of crazy things. And so just really fearful someone's
You know, the one thing we thought, we put up signage early. Hey, you know, bike path closed. We have some, you know, pretty what I call store signage that says "Partner Our Progress" and all that. And I would like to think that most people, I know that you traverse the bike path for,
I've been taking the woods now.
yeah. But now I figure that most people that are, you know, guests here, visitors, their bike path use isn't mandatory to get from point A to point B. And our thought process is they'll get to the sign where it says path closed, and they'll turn around and go back. But no, that for some reason, I'm not kidding you, I've seen some really young kids out there, and I'm like, I mean, I would never take her out there on that bike, so I don't know why other people do it, but.
Well, they check the ways of the state line and something.
So when is that gonna be finished?
Mid-May.
Mid-May?
Mhm.
And when do you anticipate starting on the bike path, not the parking, I don't care if you do parking, but when do you anticipate, starting on the bike path in this area?
And redoing it?
Correct.
Oh, it's gonna be a couple of years down the road. Our projects now are moving from 395 to the east.
What's the timeline on this parking and?
The way this will work is we have this public workshop. We'll then go ask the BCC for approval. We'll take the comments we have tonight. We'll mesh those into this conceptual plan, go to the BCC for approval to proceed with design development. Design development will take about 4 to 6 months. And then construction RFP, procurement time takes about 2 months. So in all likelihood, we could probably start this around October or November. And that would be ideal, you know. I mean, you know, right now we have, you know, fall break in October. And then we have a pretty good Thanksgiving crowd that comes down. I'll be honest with you, it doesn't let up a whole lot until after Thanksgiving. And then we have a little bit of flurry at Christmas. And then there's about a 5 to 6 week time period. But people, you know, that we have snowbirds here now, pretty heavy. I mean, they're not, you know, as heavy as our summer visitor, but they're here. And they're using the bike path.
I
But-
would think in trying to be considerate to the season and all of that, I think that this is, you said hopefully at about September?
Mm-hmm, yep,
The construction will begin on that?
yep. And keep in mind,
Not tearing up the entire
no,
mile stretch there at
No.
one time.
but keep in mind, this is all self-contained on vacant lot.
Yeah.
All right, and so we'll contain all of our construction traffic and lay down all that on that lot. You're doing this sidewalk right here it would be temporarily intrusive to some driveways, but they work around the driveways as they go along. When we got close to the road, it is a little bit of a problem. We saw that this year working on Fort Panic. So like I said, we would do it in what we consider our slow period, but
I
it,
guess my only request would be, if I'm allowed to request anything.
yeah,
That would be to put the parking in first and then do the bike path on the north side.
oh, definitely.
You got a couple more years.
Yeah.
A couple more years we did the bike path, but the curbs and gutters will go in. Those are fairly easy to get in without causing too much grief.
Getting that
but-
parking in on the south side and letting the
Mhm.
construction people use that north side as they would and do now
Mhm.
during that process.
Well, like I say, I'd like to do, if we could, get it when we're doing this, because we have a place to keep everything.
Yeah. Do the
Uh,
parking?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
So
But-
September's the start on that?
Yes, ma'am. Well, like I say, we have a meeting tomorrow. Josh is going to meet tomorrow with the FDEP, where we hope to iron out all the last little details with our boardwalk, dune walkover, and some storm water on that, for that new regional beach access. DEP's been giving us fits on that. They've been reinterpreting some rules about stormwater that we encountered on another project, so this will be the last meeting with them, and we'll get the 100% design permit, receive the permits, put it out for RFP for construction, and that will consume the rest of the time between now, September, late September. We have the money to build it. We'll have to move some money, but me and Jay have become pretty adept at recognizing time periods for appropriating funds. We'd like to do everything down the south if it concerns the south. We don't always do that, but we've been around purchasing enough to understand their ways of doing business, and so we know how far to back up to make things happen like we want them to. We think we do anyway.
So when is the next phase from you?
We'll get all this done. We'll ask for approval from BCC once we get this one designed and permitted to start on conceptual design for this. And it'll take the same process. All right. So this has been going on since October. We got this approved to do conceptual design in October.
Because that, ZBA, variance was, continued to, I think, the March 24th.
Yeah.
meeting?
We'll make sure that either Josh or I are at that meeting,
Okay.
and we'll oppose it.
Because I don't want to miss that opportunity.
No.
to go to that.
We'll go and oppose it as TDC members, as maintainers of the multi-use path and beach amenities, and we'll oppose it. We'll just say, we think the county ought to be, careful of what we're, allowing as a variance, because it could affect future use of this little piece of property. But when it comes down to it, once again, the driveway cuts across our property are going to compromise it from being used for anything. And we have to give those people driveway cuts. But what I'm saying is, if you have a driveway, that are 30 feet apart or 40 feet apart, from edge to edge, that doesn't leave you much opportunity in between there.
But with the depth of that parcel, you could
Is-
have the golf carts could be beyond the line of sight. They could be southward of the line of sight.
They could. Like I say,
No,
no, just on that triangle shaped piece, using it for something.
that triangular,
Yeah.
Triangular piece the way Sugar Beach Drive comes.
Once again,
across there, yeah.
we'll look at it,
Yeah, I went to the meeting, yeah.
we'll look at it and see what can be, I mean,
still don't want the county to give it away
right.
before we have a chance to do
There's not a chance, I don't think, really giving it away as abandonment, but the variance could compromise its use, but once again, the use is already compromised severely. And so,
That further step would set another precedent.
oh, I agree. I don't think they ought to give any more variances on 30A because of, future, like I said, this right-of-way reclamation, process. Y'all saw in that video, we've got a nice, good right-of-way right here. Street's not right in the middle of it, I don't think, but anyway. Doesn't look like it anyway.
There's a lot of things that are not to be found.
Yeah. Hey, we live in a community that was laid out when there wasn't any congestion here,
Yeah.
They couldn't give the lots away. It's funny, those good old days come in 15-year increments. I hear people, man, in 1970, man, it was so great. And then, you know, in 1985, man, it was so great. Yeah, 1990, it was so great. Now, one guy said, man, if I was looking for 1985 Seagrove, where would I find that? I said, head east, young man.
1985.
No, it's called Mexico Beach.
I'd just like to finish and say that whether we really like it or not, this is our reality, and making the best of it. There's, you know, I tell people, did you see the big new bridge, you know, that's coming over to make it easier for people to get here? It is our reality, and making it,
Yeah.
looking 10 years down the road or 20 years down the road, and making sure it looks like it does, like that picture, consistently,
Mm-hmm.
and not overrun by people just parking randomly, is a much better scenario than just
Mhm.
people parking randomly, as we do now.
I agree, but it, the ability to be able to do that is also, we depend on the county and the boards not to make bad decisions when they issue variances.
Mm-hmm.
In
Well,
this area,
it takes
that
it
ends
takes
up-
responsible people going to the meetings and saying, I don't think you ought to do this variance because of this. And you know how it is, people, you know, you've been in these rooms before. You know what brings on the yay vote. But, you know, it also means coming and being, you know, informed and talking, you know, coherently. And like I tell people, they say, how do I make change? You petition your county commission, you come with the problem, you come with a solution, and you get up to the podium and you present that with as little emotion as you can.
Well,
And you'll get the most traction.
I need to address that because like you were just talking about earlier, the problem is you can do all that and the county still, for whatever reason, does not follow its own comprehensive plan. And like you say, you see what's going on right behind Seeke's. I mean, it's like, well, how does that happen?
Well-
And this, you know,
I think,
our organization is suing the county right now
I know.
because of the problems that they've, and it said it just, that it had no problems, that it followed the rules. You know, and that's what people just follow the rules and nobody would be unhappy, because, you know.
well, you've been around this county for a long time now, and you know the land development code has some inconsistencies versus the comprehensive plan. And you know who exploits those are the high-paid land use lawyers and the developers. And so what happens is the county gets backed up and gets threatened with a lawsuit, and they don't want to increase taxes against the constituents and all that. But that's part of it is.
No, I had a commissioner tell me, well, I don't when I say, I question why they didn't, make the decisions that I thought they should, and why
Right.
our attorney. Well, I just don't know all the whole comprehensive plan, I can't understand all that. And I'm like, well, if you can't, who does?
That's what I'm saying. That's why it takes getting up. What's his name? The realtor guy used to live right down. Had the Blue Isle Realty. What was his name?
Jay Kramer,
Yeah, was it Dave?
Jay Kramer.
Yeah. So he used to come to the meetings when I was here back in early 2000s, and he knew the comprehensive plan. He would get up and he would speak, as to why the comp plan should be followed in this way or that way, or land development code have this kind of consistency. But that's what it takes. It takes,
Who's an
calm.
attorney, you know?
I know, but what I'm saying is so when you have the opportunity to get up and talk to them, it's Land Development Code Section 5.102 says this: slight conflict with comprehensive plan over coastal inland protection zones. So it appears the county ought to follow this course. And so, like the guy that cleared the lot, I guess it is a small lot exception. I don't know. There's probably some factor that they can do. I bet you they stretched it.
Well,
You know.
the planning department allows all that, and let me tell you this, the planning department figures out how to help the right people. They figure it out, they say, Jim, I don't know what you're doing wrong, I don't know.
It's been wrong for a very long time.
You haven't,
But anyway, those are all.
But in Beach Highlands, in the Second Amendment of Beach Highlands, that all four of those lots, 1, 2, 3, and 4, are listed as commercial.
You cutting this off?